Okay, so this week, phones away, please. This week, we're going to work on the law of sines. The trig we've done the last couple weeks has been right triangle trig stuff. Today, this week, with law of sines, these are non-right triangles. So this would be for any triangle, actually. Do you need a calculator in here? All right, so the law of sines says this: if A, B, and C, when it's a capital letter, it represents the angle in our triangle. So if the angles A, B, and C are the measures, it does say measure of the angles, and lowercase a, B, and C are the lengths of the sides, opposite those angles. So side A here, this numerator, is always opposite the sine of angle A. And that would always be equal to side B, which is opposite the sine, angle B. And side C is opposite. So you can do it either way. You can put the little a over sine of capital A, or you could do the reciprocal of. Just be consistent. It doesn't matter which way you put them, but as you set them equal, make sure they're in the same spots. So here's a picture of a right triangle. Again, this just represents the height of it, this red dashed line. We don't really worry about that. But angle C, you see, is at the top here, so side C is the one opposite it or straight across from it. Angle B is down here in the right corner, so side B is the one straight across from it or opposite it. And then angle A is down here on the left, so side A, again, is straight across. So when you label stuff, you got to make sure you put the numbers in the right spots, okay? Once you do that, you can just solve these proportions. And what you're going to get is 3 of these 4 things, okay? You either see side, A over A and B over B, or you might have B over B and C over C, or you might have A over A and C over C, okay? So you won't have all 3 of those at once. You'll have just 2 of them at once. But 3 of the 4 sides, 3 of the 4 things you'll have, just so you can solve the proportion. Okay, and again, this should be a review for you. Okay, but this might be a little bit. Well, you probably had it in. I think you had it in geometry actually. And then last year, we right about this time we went home on home instruction stuff, and that's when we were doing this stuff online last year. So it might not be as familiar as it might have been if we were in school. So anyway, here's a picture of an example, all right? And when we do law of sines, you'll have this situation, angle, side, angle, or you'll have a different one we'll talk about here in a few minutes, all right? So when it says solve triangle ABC, it means to find all 3 angles and all 3 sides. So when you solve a triangle, you have to know all 6 answers, okay? So I'm going to draw a quick picture of our triangle. And again, it doesn't really matter. I usually just make them look like that. And then I label it. So angle A is 42 degrees, so that would be here. And angle B is 63 degrees. And then this is side C, so that's straight across or opposite. So if you look at the picture, I've got an angle, a side, and an angle. But the sides between the 2 angles I have. So when I have this situation, the first thing I do is find the missing angle. So how do I figure that out? Think. What do we know about the three angles of the triangle, Tom?
They all add up to 180.
Right, they add up to 180. So if you know two of the angles, find that missing angle by adding them and then subtracting from 180. So when I add those, I get 105, right? So then to find that missing angle, I just do 180 minus 105, which would be 75. So we'll make it a different color. So the red answers are the ones I need to find. Okay? So that's what I would always do first. If I know two of the angles, find that missing angle. Okay? Now I can just set up my proportions. All right? So I'm going to use that law of sine. So I know side C and angle C. So I'm going to go 18 over the sine of 75 equals A, because A is here, over the sine of angle A, which is 42. And then I'll cross multiply and divide to solve that proportion. And then for side B, which will be here, I'd set up basically the same thing. 18 over the sine of 75 equals side B over the sine. Straight across from B is angle B, which is 63. So there's my two proportions then, using the law of sines that I set up. All right, Connor? Any questions on that? Okay. So now, when you do this, you got to use your calculator to make sure you're in degree mode. Again, you don't need a graphing calculator for this. If you got a scientific one of those little ones will work also. Okay. So what I'm doing is cross multiply. So A times the sine of 75, cross products are equal. So equals 18 times the sine of 42. To get A by itself, what am I going to do over here? Divide by the sine of 75, right? So when I put that in my calculator, that'll give me the length of side A. And then over here for B, I'll do the same thing. B times the sine of 75, cross multiply, right? Equals 18 times the sine of 63. And then again, divide by the sine of 75 to get your B value. All right, any questions? So I go to my calculator now and do that. So 18, I'll do the A first, 18. You can hit the times, you don't have to, if you just hit sine. I better check my mode first, make sure I'm in degree mode, and I'm not, so I would have got the wrong answer. All right, got it in degree mode. So 18 sine of 42. Now close that off. Whenever you hit sine, it gives you that left parenthesis, at least in these calculators. I think the other ones too. So close it off, and then hit your division symbol, and then sine of 75. Close it off. So we'll go to tenths. So it'd be 12.5 would be the length of side A. All right, and for this one, you can hit, second enter and it'll put everything in that you just punched in. And you could go up and change it to sine of 63. Like that. If you don't want to punch it, either way is pretty about the same. All right, and then hit enter, and that's 16.6 to the nearest 10. So now we have solved that triangle. We had two angles in one side, the black one, and to finish it, we had to find the two remaining sides and the missing angle. So now we have solved that triangle. Questions on that? You guys remember that from past classes? Pretty simple. Any questions on that? Okay, so the angle side angle, that's the really easy ones. Okay? So we're good so far? Good. All right. When you have two sides in an angle, they call this the ambiguous case. So when you have this situation, you could have one triangle, two triangles, or no triangle. All right. So sometimes you can't have. They give you a length of two sides and an angle, and they won't meet. So you can't really close it off. You know, it might look like this instead of like this. Okay? So sometimes that won't happen. All right? So first of all, determine if you have that situation. Look at what they give you. And then you use the law of sines. All right? It says if you can find the inverse sine, then you must also find the supplement angle. So here's if it works. Sometimes you'll get an error. And at this point, when you do your law of sines, you cross multiply and divide, and you look for that angle that's missing. When you have two sides in an angle, we're going to be looking for an angle. So sometimes it'll say error. So that means there's no triangle. Okay? If you do get an answer, then you have to check for a second triangle, and that would be to find the supplement of that angle. Okay? Which means what? What's supplement mean? They add up to what? 180. So whatever we get, we're going to subtract from 180. Okay? And then we're going to add the original angle to it, because you're going to be given one of the angles. And if that answer is less than 180, there's a second triangle. If that answer, that supplement, and the original angle is more than 180, then you just have the one triangle. You're done. Okay? All right, so let's look at an example. I think I got one here. Yeah, here we go. All right, so again, I'm just going to draw a picture of a triangle. Remember capital letters for the angles. So I should draw it correctly. Since it's an obtuse angle, bigger than 90, I'm going to draw it to look like it should. So I'm going to get some erasing going on here. I should have realized that before I started. All right, so 132, is about like that, let's say. So there's 132 degrees. Side A, opposite it, is 22. Side B, opposite it, is 16. So since I have side B, the only angle I can figure out is angle B. Okay? So I'm going to set up my proportion, my law of sines. Side A over the sine of angle A is equal to side B over the sine of angle B. So that's how I have to set that up. Any questions on the setup? We good so far? All right, so here's what we do. We cross multiply. So we're going to say 22 times the sine of b equals 16 times the sine of 132. And then I'm going to get, solve for b to find the sine. I'm going to divide by 22. Okay, so I'm going to get the sine of b equals this answer. All right, then I'm going to have to do another step after I get here. All right, so let's do the cross multiplying and dividing. So 16 sine of 132, close it off, divided by 22. So you get that decimal, 0.5405 if I round it. All right. Now, when I'm looking for angle B now, I have to hit second sine, which is inverse sine. Okay? So what I'm doing, just do this one. All right, this is where I'm going to put in the calculator. You don't have to write this part, but I just wanted to write it out to show you what's going on. All right, so angle B equals the inverse sine of that number. And then whatever I get is going to be that angle. All right, so here's what you do on your calculator. So we got this, so all we do is go second sine, and then you can hit second, this negative sign down here. That's the answer. It'll plug that whole number in for you. So I hit second answer, which is that negative sign, close it up. And this number now I get is going to be my degree measure of angle B. So it's going to be at 32.7 degrees. All right? So we'll always just go to tenths when we do this. All right? So second sine, second answer when you're looking for the angle measure. Okay? So then we'll go and we'll do it in blue here. All right, so I have to find the supplement of that. All right, I know there's one triangle because I didn't get an error at this point. Sometimes at this point here, it'll say error in your calculator, and then you'll just write no triangle because we had that side angle situation. All right, two sides and an angle that's not between them, not side angle side, but side angle. All right, this is that ambiguous case where you have three possibilities. All right, so we do have one. All right, so the supplement of that would be 180 minus that. So I go 180 minus answer is 147. Okay, and you add the original to that. So if I add 132 to that, I get a number that's bigger than 180. Okay? Since that number is bigger than 180, there's only one triangle in this problem. If this answer, this 279, was less than 180, then I would know there's a second triangle that I got to figure out. Okay? So that's the steps to check to see if there's a second triangle. So I always do that first to see if I have that second triangle. All right, but I've eliminated that possibility, so now I can finish up. Okay, so I'm going to find angle C next. So I'm going to do 132, which was the 147.2, right? I subtracted 180 from, well, I'll just do this. 32.7 plus the 132. And then I'm going to go 180 minus that to get angle C. remember. All three angles add up to 180, right? So angle C is 15.3. Those three angles add up to 180 now. So I still have to figure out side C, all right? So I'm going to do my original 22 over the sine of 132. And then B, I'm looking for side B. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. What side am I looking for? What side's opposite that? C, right? I messed that up. C over the sine of angle C, which was 15.3 degrees. Okay? So again, cross multiplying, C times the sine of 132 equals 22 times the sine of 15.3, and then divide by the sine of 132, figure that out. Any questions? Jacob, you all right? Stern? All right, so 22 sine 15.3, close it up, divided by sine 132, close it up. So that's a 7.8 length. So the blue answers are the answers I was looking for. The red ones is what they gave me. So that was that ambiguous case. Possibility of no triangle, one triangle, or two triangles. Okay? Questions on that? Okay, here's another example. I'll draw it real quick. We have a really big angle now. I guess I should look at that first. All right, so B was 32. Side A was 42. Side B was 30. Which situation do I have? Angle, side angle, or side, side angle? Which one? Come on. Side, side angle. So there's the ambiguous case again. So which angle can I find according to what I've been given? There's only one thing I can figure out from the picture. Angle A, right? They got to be opposite each other, okay? So 42 over the sine of angle A equals 30 over the sine of angle B, which is 32. All right? So 30 times the sine of angle A equals 42 times the sine of 32. Divide by 30. See what we get. All right, so 42 sine 32, close it up, divided by 30. All right, so sine of angle A is 0.7 something there, 7419. Okay, so this is again, I'm looking for the angle measure, so I hit second sine, second answer. And I get a 47.9 degree angle. Okay, so at this point, okay, I know there's at least one triangle. Again, if I would have got an error there, I would have said no triangle. Okay? What I'm going to do is find the supplement of that. So 180 minus that. 180 minus that answer. Oops, this messed up. Clear that out. 180 minus the second answer is 132. All right. The original angle I knew was 32. If I add 32 to that, I'll get a number less than 180. So guess what? There's two triangles. Okay, so here's what I do then. I just draw, again, your triangles don't have to be perfect as far as measure-wise, okay? But everything from the original problem stays the same, all right? So B is still 32 degrees, side B is still 30, side A is still 42, okay? All that's still the same. All right, still got the same two sides, same angle B, all right? Now, there's a new angle A, all right? And its measure is the supplement of that, okay? Which was the 132.1, right? So this angle A now is 132.1. Okay, it's the supplement of the first A. All right, so sometimes they'll put little marks like this for the second one, but I just fill it in the pictures. Okay, and then I'll do everything else the same. Okay? You know, these two I would add and subtract from 180 to get that. So add these two, which I already got, is what, 164 or something? 164.1, and subtract from 180 to get that. So usually once I find that there's a second one, and I've got this number in, I'll usually finish the second one first. But everything else is the same when you finish it. Okay? Do you understand how to finish it? Okay, let me go through this again when you get the second triangle. All right, so what we did is we found angle A to be 47.9. I found its supplement, which was 132.1, and I added 32 to that, which was 164.1. That's less than 180, so that told me there was a second triangle. Okay, that had this 132.1 for angle A. So these two are always supplements of each other. The one that you found will be supplements. And then everything else is the same. Okay? Add the two angles, subtract from 180 to get it for both of them, and then set up what you had first. 30 over sine of 32, and then you're going whatever you get for angle C, C over whatever angle C is to finish up. Okay? Questions? All right. One more example. All right, let's draw a quick picture of it. So I have a really big angle. My degree measure got messed up. But angle A is 57. Side A is 15. And side C is 20. Okay? So I got two sides and an angle that's not included. So I got that ambiguous case again. What's the only thing I can figure out from what I'm given? Angle C, right? One opposite side C. So I'm going to go 15, side A over the sine of angle A, 57, equals 20, and then sine of angle C. Okay? So again, I'm going to go cross multiply. Remember, when you cross multiply, you set them equal. Sometimes we get messed up when we do that. Divide by 15. All right, so 20 sine of 57 divided by 15. So I've got that, what the sine of C equals. was 1.1182. So what do I do at this point to figure out angle C? Second sign, second answer, right? That's when you're doing inverse, you do second sign when you're looking for the angle. So what happened? We got an error, which means what? No triangle. This really doesn't work. These three sides won't meet. So no triangle. That'll happen sometimes. Okay? And the trick is, if you get the sign of some angle is over 1, it's not going to work. Okay? Won't be over 1. All right? So, law of cosine, law of sine. Law of cosine next week. So, right here. Again, if you flip those, that's okay. If you put sine of angle A over A first, just make sure you do sine of angle B over B next to it, or sine of angle C over C. Okay? Cross multiply and divide, solve proportion. Once you get it set up, it's pretty easy. No questions? All right.